I guess we need an intro. Let's go.
Everybody, welcome back to the Entrepreneur 360 podcast. Quite an informal start. I'm an informal human being. Before we start, sorry, I forgot about this. Just some money to put in the chat.
You paid.
No, I'd pay you more than that if I was paying for charity. This is my, you might have seen this at the Konklave festival. It was the charity project. So this has become my new purpose. This is something that I'm going to roll out in the coming sort of weeks and months. But when you give charity, in the Jewish tradition, we call it tzedakah. Whenever you do anything, a business meeting, a birthday party, whatever, give to charity. It's a good thing. But anyway, so yeah, we were just talking about, well, I think let's start off first with a little bit of an introduction. Who the hell are you? What the hell are you doing here?
Well, my name is Patrycja, so people just call me P for short, and I'm a relationship coach. I specialize in attachment theory, and before that I taught yoga, and I still teach yoga. It's still a passion of mine. I've been teaching for like 17 years and training teachers, so I love what I do at the moment because I'm able to mash up a whole bunch of modalities like somatics and trauma yoga and relationships to form like a holistic approach of healing for people that come to see me.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So you actually initially not a yoga teacher, primarily you're a relationship coach.
Right now, yes. Okay. So that's my primary.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Cool. Interesting. So because I mean, just by way of context, so everybody knows how we met. You came and shared with the Konklave festival, the drum and bass festival we held two weekends ago already. You shared some yoga both mornings, and then you shared a talk on relationship coaching, which I'm actually going to upload that talk to this channel and to the Konklave channel. We're busy editing it up, but so my first initial introduction to you was yoga. So it's relationship coaching, but I think it's quite interesting. As I was saying to you just before, normally when I met you and when I saw what you did, I was like, do you remember what I said to you?
Oh, you're so sweet. No, you are just like the chocolate sauce and everything. I really appreciated you so much. No, you elevate energy. It's beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Do you remember what I said? Why I want to talk to you?
No, now I feel like you better say it.
I'll say it. So I said to you, I pride myself in, like, it's become a mission of mine over the last year to become the best in the world at what I can be the best in the world at. What I was doing in my previous business and in my previous job, in my previous life, I couldn't become the best in the world at. I wasn't passionate about it, I wasn't loving it, it wasn't what I could be the best in the world at. And when I meet people now who I see as like the best in the world at what they do, I want to talk to them, I want to get them onto the podcast and talk to them. So that's what I saw. In my opinion, you are, I mean, yoga and also what you shared about the relationship coaching, I really feel like you're at another level, at that high level, and I want to only surround myself with the best in the world, because that's how we become, steel sharpens steel. So that's what brings you here.
I really appreciate it. Yeah, you're so sweet.
No, I mean, it was very interesting, and I think as I said to you before we started, is often when I invite someone onto the podcast and I meet someone and I'm like, hey, I want to get this person onto the podcast, I do a bit of research and I make some notes, talking points, make sure that I've got some stuff to talk to about with the person. But with you, I didn't really do that because I won't say I'm intimidated by the concept of relationship coaching or yoga, but it's not something that's in my frame of reference. Relationships, thank God I've always had pretty good relationships. I gave you a little bit of context. My previous relationship with my ex-girlfriend was about 15 years, long time. She's in Los Angeles, left her there, came back to South Africa, and we sort of ended that relationship, which was a tough relationship to end because we were so close. And then previous to that, I've had really good relationships. But what I've started to notice, and that's why I kind of was interested to talk to you about relationships, was I've started to notice I spend a lot of time in the festival scene, in the party scene, loud music, that sort of thing, and with a lot of young people. And I'm starting to compare what I've seen, or my experience of relationships has been over the years, compared to what the 21-year-olds, the 25-year-olds, the 30-year-olds are going through these days, and it's quite a scary thing. I feel like they're struggling, and it's quite hard to have relationships these days. Like, what is your, I guess that's why I wanted to talk to you, because I thought that would be an interesting conversation, because I think a lot of people, I know a lot of people agree with me, because that's what they tell me. They're like, dude, dating these days and just being in a relationship with people these days is tough.
Yeah, I hear a lot of people struggling, especially because of social media. So we feel like we are connected, but it's this synthetic connection. So we think that if I post something to my stories, everybody sees it and we are connected like that. I've noticed by myself, when I went off of Instagram, all of a sudden I'm connecting more with my family. I'm actually speaking to them. I'm reaching out to them. I'm sending the photos that I would normally post online. I'm posting it to them and having a deeper connection, a more meaningful connection. So we are in this society where we are just so quickly challenged to switch our attention, right? So it's like, what's better? What's next? What is the next hot thing that is out there? Next technology or whatever, right? So we are losing that sense of building on something, and you can see that, like, you can get abs in 15 minutes, whatever, like you can eat junk and still get abs, or you can, you don't have to study, you just have to do this thing for 10 minutes and all of a sudden you're a genius, right? So we're just fed these ideas of these quick fixes all the time, and we treat relationships in the same way, that it's just, if I don't like my partner, I'm just going to throw that away and then I'm going to move on to the next best thing. And so we are in that culture, unfortunately. So we are losing touch with what it actually means to build something with somebody. And I'm sure that you know that, like, what did it take for you to have a 15-year relationship? It's not easy. I mean, you have to select a good partner, but what was that like for you? And
what's so interesting, because I've never equated the two with, I think everybody agrees with what you said about, in today's day and age, we can easily just come and expedite the mark, just ask Instagram, it's easy. Never equated it to a relationship, and actually what you're saying about building a relationship and the work that gets done over years, as you said, like with me, it was easy because I loved her, and she was a very easy human being. I was very fortunate, and we connected really well, even though we were quite polar opposite. But thinking back, like, all of the work, the foundational work that goes into building a relationship was done month after month, then year after year. It wasn't overnight. And I think I've never equated it to that instant gratification. So funny, Instagram, instant gratification. I never made it.
Oh wow,
You heard it first, that was mine. But yeah, I've never equated it to that. You're 100% right. Like, you can go into Squarespace, and just build a website within minutes or hours, and you can pretend like that's what the Instagram culture is. It's about, I'm already there. I just started it and I'm already there. And people look at it and go, how do you do that? He didn't do it because he hasn't done the foundational work. So I've never thought about it from a relationship perspective, and it's quite damaging for these youngsters, I suppose.
Yeah, 100%. So, and we also see these lifestyles on social media and all this content about how this is what your partner should do for you and this is how they should behave. And then you go out into your life and you compare and you think, well, my partner doesn't take me out on dates every single night, and he doesn't wake me up with coffee in the morning and pay for my nails, and it's like, okay, this relationship is not good for me, right? And so we're getting these unrealistic standards because we're getting 7 seconds, 90 seconds shot into somebody's life. Like, if you look at the reality of it, it's like, what is behind the scenes, the mess, the chaos, the conflict, like nobody actually sees that. Because even with my relationship coaching, I always wondered, what do my teachers experience? Like, are they these Buddhas, these saints that never have fights? Now their nervous system is completely regulated. They have all of these relationship skills. So they must have these perfect relationships. And it's completely not like that, right? They're still humans. They still have their nervous system dysregulation. They will still have fights. It's just a matter of knowing the tools and constantly working towards something. Like, what is your goal? Like you said, with your relationship, you had to build it up. The foundation had to be laid down. It's not immediately like jumping into the relationship, because I think this is what happens now. It's like we meet at a festival, we get into a fling, and then we expect something to mature from that. But like, have you had a conversation with that person? Who are they? What are their interests? What are their needs? What are your needs? This is one of the most predominant things that I see with people, is that they are so disconnected from their emotions and from their needs. So they're getting into a relationship, like going to a shop when you're hungry. Like, you don't really know what your body wants. Like, you're just disconnected from your hunger, and then you're like, I'm just hungry. I'm just really, really hungry. I didn't eat the whole day, so I'm just going to eat these biscuits, and I'm going to eat these chips, and I'm going to just get the junk food, and it's not really satisfying, you know? And then we wonder, like, why are my relationships not satisfying? What don't they last? Because we don't know our core fundamental values and our feelings and our needs, right? Like, our feelings lead to needs. Like, your hunger is a signal for food. So your emotional needs are also a signal to fulfill that need with something. So if I'm lonely, I need to either call somebody, or it's a time for me to sit with myself and journal. And usually people have an issue with one of those two. It's like, how do I fulfill my needs by myself? So we got the group of people who are very anxious and kind of clingy and needy of others, where we don't know how to sit with ourselves and fulfill our own needs by journaling or meditation or just being quiet with ourselves and listening to our emotions. And then we get the other group of people who are only by themselves. They don't want to have others. They don't want to ask for help for others, right? So, and usually these two get into relationships together, the clingy one and the one that is avoidance, you know, so like the anxious and the avoidance. Yeah, exactly. And then they have this cat and mouse relationship, which is very, very common, and it's heart-wrenching to see.
Yeah, and a lot of the time we do see it, like your friends, you see it in your friends, in friends who are married, even with kids, and you see everybody else can see how toxic the relationship is except the people who are in it.
That's a sad thing, because you can always see the log in somebody else's eye, but you cannot see what is happening for you, because you're so in that dynamic. You're just going through the motions. And another very big important reason for that is that a lot of us don't know what is a healthy relationship. What does that look like? Because we were not brought up by people who were emotionally regulated. True. Like, how emotionally regulated were your parents? I don't know, like, were they very secure and calm and resolved conflict calmly, or like, what was it like?
No, thank God they were.
They were.
I was one of those, I mean, I suppose, and it's quite funny because I feel like even in our generation, divorce was happened and it was there, but it wasn't common.
Yes.
And thank God I was one of those families where my parents stayed together until my dad passed away. But they still had their challenges. I remember times when their relationship wasn't good, like where they would fight. And I think that fighting was even healthy, because, you know, you do need to disagree. It's not always about going in the same direction. Sometimes you need to have somebody say something to the contrary of what you're thinking. So they were very balanced, and that's why I feel like, in a way, I know what a healthy relationship looks like, but I think I've also learned through dating the wrong people what an unhealthy relationship looks like. And it's quite funny now, if I come anywhere near an unhealthy relationship, or anything that I can see is going to be an unhealthy relationship, I'll pull out as fast as I possibly can before it even becomes, I suppose that's maturity.
Yeah. But tell me, what are the red flags that you see, that you say?
So I would say that I think everyone's red flags are going to be different. Like, some guys like a girl to be needy. They actually like that, or clingy, or high-strung. I'm sure there's guys out there that do, because there's girls who are out there who are like that, and they're in relationships, and they're pretty healthy relationships, even though they are those kinds of people. But for me, that's a red flag for me immediately. Is like that clinginess, that inability to be on your own, and that inability to be confident is a big one. Like, people who lack confidence, or females who lack confidence in themselves, that's a bit of a red flag for me, because I have a very high opinion of women, and when I meet women who don't have a high opinion of themselves, I know that's not the right person for me, because I'm going to expect a lot out of that person, because I've got such a high opinion of you. And I find that that's quite a big one for me. It's quite funny, nobody's ever asked me that, but to actually pinpoint what the red flags are for me, and in like people that I would get involved with, but that's definitely a red flag. That confidence piece.
Yeah, because it tells you what that person is going to settle for and what that person is going to sometimes maybe have certain behaviors that are insecure, that are causing trouble in the relationship, right? So we might not know that on a psychological level. It's like, oh, when I'm insecure, maybe I have some kind of patterns where I don't have boundaries, or I don't know how to resolve conflict, or it means that I'm going to be passive aggressive, right? So a lot of us just see that like, oh, insecurity is not a great thing. But for whoever is listening, just understanding that if you are insecure, that doesn't mean that this is where you're going to have to stay. A lot of us have been brought up in very unstable households, you know. So the work that I do, I focus on attachment theory, which is basically the science of looking at how we were parented and how that is influencing our adult relationships, right? So we have these 4 types of parents. So the parents who were very secure and loving, like you said, yours were, they did have conflict, they had some disagreement, but they worked through it. So what you've learned from that is that conflict is just a normal part of life. It's actually healthy. You don't want the person to agree with you all the time, because if they're agreeing with you, then you don't really know them. Like, who's this person, right? They're just following in your footsteps, and you need that polarity to be in a relationship, and you need to understand how to resolve conflict. So that is secure attachment. And when people have that security within themselves and that self-confidence, they know who they are, they know their self-worth, and their life is just a lot easier. But a lot of people didn't get that, you know? So what you're speaking about is mostly the people who didn't get that.
Yeah. It's quite funny because in a way you could create like a survey to give to someone before you involve them. Say, did your parents get divorced? Did you have these problems? Then they go, no, sorry, this isn't for me. And I guess in a way that's what Tinder and like Bumble is. It's kind of a survey going, yes, no, sorry.
But that's the issue I have actually with all of these dating apps, because people get on there, and I hear so many people that tell me like, oh no, the dating apps are so shit. Like, I don't really enjoy the dating apps there. But it's like, well, what are you doing on there? Because a lot of people go on there and they don't really say what they want and what they need. They put their whole description about what is going to catch somebody. Like, how can I advertise myself?
They're
How can I package
what
myself?
They think people want to hear, rather than what they actually want.
Like, when I was on a dating app, I was like, I didn't put my best picture up there. Like, I don't want people to, I'm not walking around made up like I went to a photo shoot. Like, I'm not going to set up that expectation. I put in like a random photo of me. Like, it's not too bad, but like, it's a normal photo. And then you just need to put on there like what you actually want and what you need. But people are so scared of rejection, and it's all such a number game that I can't be rejected. But that's why people are not getting the correct matches, right? Because if you don't really know who you are inside of yourself and you're not confident with that, then you cannot attract or be attracted to a partner who can fulfill you as well.
And I think that what you just said, particularly about I just want to make sure this audio is good. Particularly what you've said about the dating apps. We go into these apps. I have my own personal opinion about them.
What's your opinion?
My opinion is that they are, at the end of the day, businesses, and they make money keeping you on them.
100%.
The sooner they find you a match, the sooner you leave the app. So it's not in their vested interest to actually find you success. It's in their interest to actually find you failure. Make sure that you keep hooking up with the wrong people. And it might sound really out there, but they're able to do this. The algorithms these guys are smart people. They know how to make sure that you are kept swiping as much as you can and keep you on the app. So I don't have a very high opinion of them. But I think based on what you've said over now, particularly about the dating apps, and I guess it's the same whether you're on a dating app or whether you're on a dance floor, whether you're going on a blind date. If you don't actually sit down and figure out what you honestly want, and what you honestly will settle for, maybe that's the wrong term, but what you want from the partner. Do you want someone who's physically looks a certain way? And if they're not like that, then you shouldn't be speaking to that person. Do you want someone who wants to have kids or doesn't want to have kids? Then you shouldn't be speaking to that person, because you're playing with fire, in my opinion. You're actually creating a situation that's bad for both of you, because eventually it will get to a stage where that stuff will come out. And if you go into the apps or you go into these environments of dating environments or whatever relationship environments, you are asking for you're asking for trouble if you just continue to push forward.
Yeah. So what you said is very important. You have to figure out what your non-negotiables are.
Yeah.
Like, I will not accept a person, and everybody's going to have something different, right? Like maybe your parents smoked and you hate smoking, and then you're like, I'm never going to date a smoker, right? Or somebody's like, I'm never going to date somebody who doesn't listen to drum and bass.
Yes.
Excluded.
Deal breaker.
Deal breaker.
No, it's not,
But I think the most important part, like as a relationship coach and also through my own relationships, I've noticed the most important thing is that you want to be with a person with whom you can resolve conflict.
Yeah.
Right? So life is full of challenges every single day. Like you've got a flat tire, there's traffic, like later on there might be kids, whatever it is, there are challenges every single day. And if you have a person by you that cannot handle that conflict, cannot resolve conflict, so they either shy away from conflict and sweep it under the rug like it's not there and then later explode, because it always comes out somehow, right? Like you can never just push something under. It has to have an out. Whatever you don't express through words is going to come out in some kind of action. So, or you have the other person that is very highly confrontational and you cannot resolve your conflict together. That's going to make your life a living hell. You're going to just spend your time fighting, breaking up and making up, and constantly trying to resolve conflict. But on the other hand, if you have somebody who makes life challenges easier, who you can talk through conflict, that is going to build such a safe foundation, and it's going to create this bulletproof relationship. Like nothing can ever stand in between the two of you.
Yeah. When do you, I want to get back to something else you said earlier, but I want to just ask you this, like, if anybody's watching this or listening to this and they find they're relating to you going, yeah, I'm in a relationship and it's just not happening. It's not, you can't resolve conflict. You can't do any of the things that we want to do. At what point do you pull the trigger and go, all right, it's enough? Like, if someone's looking for that sort of advice, what would your advice be?
So the number one thing that I say to people when they ask me when to leave a relationship is, have you become a person you don't like?
Interesting, yeah.
Are you constantly fighting or depressed or calling your friends crying because of this relationship? If you cannot thrive in that relationship, then you either have to make a concerted effort to study the skills and do something, because people have turned around relationships that were, after betrayal or just before divorce. Like I've had a lot of couples who are just on the brink of divorce and they can turn their relationship around, but it's just a matter of, okay, do you have the energy to do this? Are there patterns in the relationships that are repeating, that are constant, that are never changing? And is the relationship toxic? And the way you can say that is, are all your friends and family, or most of your friends and family, telling you this is a bad relationship, right? And a lot of us don't want to listen to that. If it's just one or two friends, yes, they can be jealous of you, whatever it is. But if it's the majority of people in your life are telling you get out of there, then that's just something that you should consider.
Interesting. Yeah.
Like you said, because people have that external perspective, and then you in it, you don't.
Yeah, you don't see. Sometimes you need. That's what I suppose what coaching is, or relationship coaching, or any kind of coaching is asking someone who's got a vested interest, doesn't have a vested interest, to take a look and give their opinion. What about couples with kids? Often you see this question come up online, and I've seen it on Reddit a few times, of like, we're in a relationship, we're married, got kids. The kids are 2 and 3 or 2 and 7, or like young kids. Do we get divorced now, or do we stay together for the kids? I know what I think the answer is. What is, in your opinion, is the answer? So John, you know,
It's the story just finished.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So I'm curious, what is your answer?
My answer is pretty straight. Well, again, and I'm no relationship coach here, but my answer is get out. If you bring the kids up in a environment where two people are unhappy from 2 years old, if it's a 2-year-old, and you're going to bring them up for the next 16 years till they're 18, you go, cool, you good, you fine, you're out of the house, great, now we're going to get divorced. I feel like for 16 years you're just showing that kid what a bad relationship looks like. Whereas on the opposite side, you could have get divorced, explain to the kid, and maybe it's a 5-year-old or a 9-year-old who's a little bit more mature, not a 2-year-old, who can understand what divorce is, and you can show them what that two people can still love you without loving each other. That's my opinion, anyway.
Yeah, it's a very challenging topic, and I think you have to take it case by case, because if people are really volatile with each other and the household is just like a war zone, then of course don't bring your children up in that, because children are born in that hypnotic state, so they're just absorbing information, and they will absorb that template of this is what a relationship is, and it sets them up to look for partners that are going to replicate that same pattern. Right? So ideally, I mean, we want two parents to co-parent because abandonment wounds are really rough, and I think there needs to be a new science now or psychology of actually divorce, of like how to lead a divorce that it's safe for the kids, how to co-parent in a healthier way. I don't deal with divorce, so I don't really want to talk too much about this because it's not my field of expertise. But from like research perspective, it is better for kids to have their parents together if they can keep some sort of peace till at least they're like 7, because that's when our primary development is, and then later on, you know, the divorce also has to be handled in a very good way. It is going to be traumatic, and I think kids should go to therapy from a very young age just to deal with that, because they will feel there's probably some level of abandonment, and then they will take that into relationships and either become more on the avoidance side, or where they don't want to be in relationships, where they avoid their own emotions, or they will be clingy, or they will be quite chaotic and seek out toxic partners. So I think whatever is happening, whatever people decide to do, it's so individual, and this is why I also don't like social media, because you will have these like blanket statements, like somebody just writes a sentence and then you think like, oh, I need to live my life by that. And it's such a sweeping statement. You need, there's so much nuance that goes into every situation and every relationship. Like, what is the demeanor of your kids? Are they quite secure, or are they already anxious? Right? If now you put a divorce in there, it's going to make things a lot worse. So I think whatever anybody decides to do, it's to get some kind of help, to get therapy or coaching or whatever it is, to get some support. Some people even get religious support, whatever it is, just to have community.
Amazing. And it sounds so simple, but I mean, it's not always so simple when it comes down to it. It's very, very complicated, actually. The one of the things you said earlier, which I think is so cool, is like, because I can relate to that. Like, the relationship I had, this long-term relationship, was easy, and by that I mean I was.
But why did you break up?
Oh, purely because we were on different paths. You know, being together for 15 years, I think it was like, we don't even know the full amount. It was 13 to 15 years. We don't even know. We haven't really worked it out, but it's a long time. And when you're together for that long, obviously you change as a human. And I think we just we went into different paths. One of the main reasons was she wanted to stay in Los Angeles and I wanted to come back to South Africa. So that was the main thing. But we still connected, we still chat, and we still look after each other, make sure that each other are good. We're not in a relationship anymore, but we still are. We didn't stop loving each other, but we realized that we needed to move on. So, but that relationship was super easy. Well, she made it very easy, because I think just because of the way the two of us were as people, we were quite complementary to each other, and yet quite different. So it was never. I never had struggles in the relationship. I was never resentful. There was never. We were very supportive of each other, and I know a lot of. I'm very grateful for that, because I know most people don't experience that in relationships. Most relationships are quite challenging and quite tough, and I feel sorry for people who are in those positions, because you almost want to, and I guess that's what the Instagram world shows you, is these happy couples that are like living the best life, but actually behind the scenes not always like that.
For many people, it takes a lot of time to work through their personal trauma and then to have a good relationship. So these are skills, just like emotional intelligence, just like anything you learn. So, you know, we can learn skills, and we have these patterns, and patterns can be broken as well, as long as you just follow a structure that is actually geared for that, you know. So if you are struggling with relationships, study relationships, like study attachment theory or something like that. Look at your own patterns and start to change those patterns. And people can have very healthy relationships, but I think in your case, it was you had the upbringing, like this very secure upbringing, and because of that, you were able to replicate that, right? That was your pattern, that was a template that was inside of you. But I'm just wondering, in that relationship, because she was so easy, did she challenge you enough?
Yeah, there were times definitely to change myself who I was, because I was quite I was even more out there than I am now. I'm quite a non-conformist now. It was even worse. So yeah, there were times that when we challenged each other, I think, and we pushed each other. But I think getting back to what you said about just we both just wanted ease, whatever was going to create discomfort for each other, or whatever was going to, we were quite accommodating to say, oh, is this not lacquer for you? Oh, cool. No, then I'll stop doing it, kind of thing.
Wow.
You know, because we were both pretty hedonistic, I guess, is what it comes down to. We were very hedonistic. We just wanted an easy life. Life was tough enough, and is tough enough without being with someone who doesn't want the best for you.
100%, and that's exactly it. If you have needs and you tell your partner, like in a very nice way, of course not in a confrontational way, because a lot of people address their needs with their partner in a very argumentative way, where it's like, oh, the dishes are not done again, like you don't care about me. Meanwhile, what they're actually trying to say is like, you know what, when the dishes are not done, I feel really sad and unsupported. I feel like I would like you to work with this with me, right? So that's the communication that we want to bring into the relationship. And usually that doesn't happen, so people don't know how to voice their needs. And the other parties also think like, oh, I'm not going to pander to this person's needs. You're your own human, you need to take care of your own emotions, because a lot of social media has taught people how to become more avoidant, how to not care for anybody else, or more narcissistic actually, right? It's like, oh, your emotions, it's your issue, you deal with it, you know, like, don't bother me, like, I'm still going to keep liking all the people on Instagram and making, you know, comments and stuff, and you should be okay with that. It's just your insecurity.
It's funny because when you bring up the Instagram again, there's that expression that people love to use about, oh, I'm living my best life. Most of the time I find, whenever I find someone who uses that expression a lot, they generally are quite selfish people, because they are living their best life, and if at anybody else's cost, they're going to live their best life. So I've seen it quite a lot, you know, people go, oh, best life, yeah, but you know, there's other people around you who you might be impacting, and you might have to think about it. They just don't care, and that's kind of what Instagram. There's an interesting story. You talk about Instagram and relationships and how we have fallen into like following these ideal relationships. There's a brilliant story, I don't know if you're familiar with it, of Gabby Petito.
I've actually been off for like almost a year now.
So you must watch it, check it out. If anybody hasn't seen it, very worthwhile watching. It's a Netflix documentary. It's like 3 episodes, not very long. And it's a story of pretty much the opposite. Well, it's behind the scenes of a happy relationship.
Okay, so this is on Netflix. It's not on Instagram.
Oh no, it's not on Instagram. Sorry.
Oh yeah, no, I've been on Instagram for a while.
Oh no, I'm on Instagram purely for sharing my message.
Yes, I need to get back on. Yeah, I actually miss my community there. But
I don't spend much time online at all. Like I'm actually at fault to like a lot of people. I don't reply to messages or comments and things like that, but just because I feel like being online there is toxic. It just doesn't benefit me anything. But anyway, but the story of this girl, it's worth watching the documentary, but the story of this girl is a perfect example of a young girl, a few years ago, who decided she wanted to go live the van life, go buy a van with her boyfriend at the time and go live the van life and document everything and become an influencer.
I think I saw that.
It was a very good story. And it's a story of how they went on their journey in America, and they started going on the journey, and just how bad a relationship it was. I think he had quite a lot of mental health issues, and I think she was just a really sweet, naive girl who knew what she wanted, who really wanted that Instagram life. But it tells the story of what happens. I won't give it away so you can watch it, but it tells the story of what happened to these two, but behind the scenes of like what their relationship was really like when the camera was off. Those little irritated glances at each other, and now you can look back in hindsight and go, wow, did you see that? Did you see that? Now we know that was actually quite telling. But it's a super interesting story because it shows you that it's a cautionary tale that a lot of these relationship Instagram couples and family YouTube channels are not always peaches and roses behind the scenes. There's a lot of toxicity there.
Yeah, and it takes a lot of skills to build a healthy relationship. It's a specific skill set. We need to understand how to regulate our emotions. We need to understand our needs. We need to understand how do we negotiate between my needs. So I might need space, my partner needs time together. Like, how do we negotiate that?
Yeah.
This is the biggest issue that I see in relationship. Like, one person, I want more alone time, and the other person wants more connection time. And both of those are very valid. Neither of those are incorrect. And also, we need to understand, like, how do I set boundaries? Because like what you said earlier, if we don't set boundaries, we end up people pleasing, and then we're not actually in relationship. We don't have intimacy. So a lot of people think that if I don't set boundaries, I'm going to have this amazing relationship, I'm going to be this great partner. But actually, the other person is not getting a sense of who you are.
Yeah.
Because boundaries tell other people like who I am, what I like, what I don't like, what I'm going to stand for, what I'm not going to stand for. And that's such an important part of relationship. And of course, resolving conflict is one of the biggest parts of relationship. Like, can we have these conversations, and can we understand, like what you said with your ex-girlfriend? That was such a beautiful example, that if this upsets you, like, it's not a problem. Like, if liking all these girls in bikinis on Instagram like upsets you, like, who are they to me? Like, whatever. Like, it doesn't matter, right?
Yeah. And I guess, it's funny because maybe I didn't, because I didn't do that. Like, but let me put it like this: I didn't go around on Instagram like liking other girls or commenting on their photos. And she didn't do that either. So maybe that's a bad example for us. But I do understand that. Well, that's what I've noticed amongst the youth, like the young generation, our Gen Zs. I can't even remember.
Yeah, but they're doing that. But would you go to a dinner party and go like, "Hey, how you doing?" Like, pop up in somebody's DM, like pop up next to somebody on a dinner party and go like, "Hey, girl, well, your girlfriend is over here," or like, "Hey, boy."
Well, I wouldn't, and I don't think you would. But what I've started to realize is that the 20-year-olds and the 30-year-olds even, they would. There's a lot of cheating going on in that generation.
So much cheating, but cheating is a sign of insecurity.
Amongst the person who's cheating is
100%. Look, cheating it's quite broad, but at the end of the day, people who cheat have some kind of unfulfilled need, and a lot of that leads to some kind of abandonment wound or fear of rejection. So it's kind of, now we're in this culture, like, I'll cheat on you before you cheat on me.
I was just going to say, so you cheat before.
So they're like kind of trying to do that, and it just comes from this. It's not a power play. Like, if you're ever being cheated on, just understand that it doesn't mean anything about you. That person had needs that were unfulfilled. Maybe they're not even aware of it. And now they are involving other people into the situation, completely disregarding you.
Interesting. So it's the ultimate. It's not you, it's me.
Yeah, it's always. To be honest with you, it's always not personal. People who have an insecure attachment take everything personally. So if my boyfriend cheats, it means I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, I'm not lovable. People who are secure in themselves can separate that and say, like, they cheated, clearly something was going on for them. They had unfulfilled needs, they didn't know how to communicate this with me. So this is their action, and I'm going to leave that. They don't add on to the pain of now saying, I was not beautiful enough, I was not successful enough, whatever the story is.
You got to be really headstrong and really sure of yourself. You got to be really sure of yourself to be that kind of person though?
Wow, it took me so long to build that up. I was cheated on so much. Like this was my just experience with relationships. One betrayal after the next,
Really?
after the next. Like I just knew how to pick guys who would just.
It was your type.
It was my type, and that's the very
But
interesting thing.
Aren't you blaming yourself like you just said you shouldn't? Like you're saying,
No. You have to take responsibility. Like I'm a very,
okay, so you
very,
take
I
responsibility.
believe, like you
gotcha.
have to take responsibility. Like if you're in a relationship with somebody who's cheating, it's like, okay, why am I allowing this behavior? What got me to this point? And this is not blame. Blame is sitting there and saying, I'm bad, I'm not good enough, I am like a piece of rubbish, you know. Taking responsibility goes like, okay, let me see how I got to this point.
Yes. And ensuring you don't do it again.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's
Learning
the only
something
way.
from it.
Self-reflection.
Yeah.
You have to look back. Self-reflection. If you're not learning from your relationships and you're not growing, then you're not going to have a better relationship. You're just going to repeat patterns over and over. And that's what insecurity attached people do. They just repeat patterns. They are just like copy paste, and they're like, oh, all women are like this. It's like, no, all women you date, like, why? And they're like, I'm attracting these people. The biggest thing I say is, no, you're not attracting these people. You are attracted to people who are doing this. And the only reason why I can say that is because I've been there, I've done that, I've seen it many times with my clients as well. You have to change what you are attracted to. It's like when you want to be healthy, you have to learn to like healthy food, healthy habits. You have to love the pain of working out. You have to love eating a salad versus eating whatever junk.
So what you just said is I love it, because I don't know if you picked it up when I spoke at the Konklave. What I was saying is, you've got to fall in love with the process. If you want to be a runner, exactly what you just said.
And the identity, you were also
you've
talking
got to
about
identify as a runner. You've got to identify as an
Mm-hmm.
entrepreneur if you want to be an entrepreneur. You've got to love the process, like you just said. You've got to fall in love, and you've got to, what did you say? You said you've got to, sorry, I just forgot exactly.
I don't know.
I forgot the word you used, but
but
the point is, it's exactly what I was saying, is and it's true. It's because when you do that, in my experience, when you start to identify and when you start to love the hard work, are you talking about going to the gym? You've got to love going to the gym. You've got to love lifting the weights. You've got to love all that stuff. When you start doing that, it becomes your identity, and then it becomes way easier for you to be that person and to manifest that into who you are as a human. And I guess what you're saying, I loved, by the way, what you shared about being cheated on, because I really think it's a powerful message, because a lot of people get cheated on over and over and over. You're a recovered cheatie. You're someone who's gone through it and gone, no, it's not who I am anymore. I'm not going to choose these people anymore. Now you've got a fiance who's clearly not like that, because you've learned all those lessons. So you stopped identifying as someone who chose people who cheat on them, and stopped, even though you might have been physically attracted to them, realized you saw the red flags and went, look, I'm out. It's not for me, because it's going to go down the same path. You're going to cheat on me, and I'm going to resent myself, and I'm going to say, why does this always happen to me? But you actually start identifying as someone who doesn't get cheated on, and all of a sudden, people start cheating on you. And which is such a powerful message, because I think a lot of people go through their life constantly getting cheated on and never know why, and never know how to break the cycle.
Yeah. Well, the reason why is because you self-betray.
Yeah.
Okay. That's whatever I always say to my clients. Your partner is a physical manifestation of how you treat yourself. Right? So if I am mean to myself, if I criticize myself, and somebody else does that, I'm just going to hear it as like, yeah, that's an affirmation of what I already do to myself. It kind of validates how I see myself, my self-image. So I'm not even going to oppose that or stand up for myself. A person who doesn't criticize themselves, who has a healthy sense of self, not narcissistic, like just healthy, like self-love, self-understanding, like we all human, we all mess up, we try our best, right? If somebody says something negative towards them, they're either going to address that or they're going to be repelled by it and say, I'm not going to be around this. But people who get cheated on, they don't realize that, hey, this person is all about them. They are selfish. They want stuff from me. So I'm going to betray myself. I'm not going to ask for what I need in a relationship. I am just going to give.
It goes back to what we were saying about, you've got to be sure about who you are and what you want in a relationship, because what you just said is, if somebody starts behaving in that way that you just described, and and it's betraying who you are, probably aren't very sure about who you actually are, and you're letting them get away with it because you're not certain that this is who I am. If you are a person who doesn't get cheated on and somebody cheats on you, you'll walk away and say, no, that's not good enough for me. I'm not that person. Get out.
100. It just goes back to that identity, right? Like, do I see myself as worthy of love? Do I see myself as worthy of upholding my boundaries? And usually people who get cheated on are people pleasers. Usually people who get cheated on do not see themselves as worthy. And that's what I really love to work with, is subconscious beliefs in our identity of who do we identify ourselves with. And changing that on a subconscious mind level. And if you want at the end, I can give you a very easy tool where we can change our subconscious mind and our identity, where we can fall in line with, if I'm feeling unworthy or if I see myself as not good enough, how I can actually change that and rewire my brain.
So speaking of that, I said to you, like, I love for me, everything's got to be practical. It's got to be implementable, and people have to like really see change in their lives. If you could give a little bit of homework or an exercise or something to the listeners and say, hey guys, maybe it's about being cheated on, maybe it's just about something that you introduced a cool one at the festival. I don't think people were very up for it. I just want to say that.
I think I misjudged it a little bit. Like,
I was retired and like, oh, okay. But like, what kind of practical advice, 3 things could you give somebody and say to improve their relationship, or to maybe do an audit of their relationship? Say, am I actually in the right relationship here? Because I've had some people around me all saying I'm in the wrong relationship. How do I figure that out for myself?
Yeah, generally, if everybody around you, and those are reliable sources of people who have healthy relationships, you need to see where your feedback is coming from. So if you're taking feedback from a lot of people who have broken relationships, then maybe that's not a good source of information. So the first, I always really like to look inwards and go like, okay, what am I doing in my relationship? Am I showing up as a partner that I would like to have? So am I playing games? Am I manipulating? Am I causing trouble? Am I trying to control? Do I do those things? Okay, cut that out. Cut out all toxicity. The number one reason couples break up is because of how the word escapes me, but it's basically when your partner does something and then contempt is the number one reason people break up relationships. So if you have contempt in your relationship, that relationship is unless you stop that, it's really not going to last. So contempt is like your partner says or does something and you're like, oh, and you roll your eyes, or you undermine them, or you don't respect them. That is a real...
But you probably don't like someone who you've got contempt
100%. And maybe that is because of your own insecurity, or maybe there are so many issues in the relationship, so much water under the bridge, that you just created so much resentment and it's built up, and now they are irritating you. Usually if your partner is irritating you, is because you have some kind of resentment for them. That's usually maybe you felt like you've given more into the relationship than your partner has showed up. And that is causing a lot of friction. So, and that goes back to, are you clear about your feelings and your needs? What do you actually need in a relationship? And needs are not something that we go to a relationship coach and go like, these are my needs, and I'm walking around like with a shopping list in a supermarket every single day buying the same thing. My needs are changing all the time. We have our core needs that are very important to us. We need to know that. Like my core need may be communication, or my core need might be time alone. And I need to know that, and I need to communicate that with my partner, instead of having these situations when, picking a partner, like all I want to do is connect, and I want to hang out a lot, and I want to travel, and my partner's like, all I want to do is be by myself and be in my room. And these two people are trying to get together now. It's like they get together at a festival. It's like, oh, great party, right? But now it's like we have all of these very different lifestyle and very different viewpoints of how we want to live. So first of all, look within yourself and clean up yourself, right? Our partners are mirrors. So we have mirror neurons, which means we mirror each other's behavior. And this is why you said at the beginning that you want to be around people who are world class, because steel sharpens steel. And this is exactly the same thing. If you are secure in yourself and you're showing up as the best partner give your partner that chance to respond to that. And I see this so much with my couples. I see this and I'm like, they come to me and it's like, oh, my partner doesn't really want to come to coaching. They want to do their own thing. And I'm like, okay, cool. Let's give them some time. Are they going to follow your influence? If you change the way you speak to them, will they respond differently? And 95% of the time, they do, right? So if I approach my partner instead of when they come in and like, where were you? What did you do? You don't care about me. And I attack them basically and then expect them to love me. If I instead approach them and say like, hey, I really missed you. If you're going to be late, please just message me because I get really anxious. Like I know this is something in my personality that I need to work on, but my anxiety is quite high if you don't message me, right? Taking responsibility, like these are my emotions. And a lot of people are so scared to express their feelings and emotions because everybody online is like, oh, if you have needs, you're needy. No, everything's got needs. If there was no need fulfillment, there would be no economy. Everything in life, like right now we have this need to contribute, we have this need to connect, and other people have the need to listen to something that they want to learn from, right? So we are in need exchange. So having needs is not a problem. What you want to do is own your needs and express your needs in a way that is inviting your partner to fulfill those needs. Like, hey, you know what, we haven't spoken for a while.
Yeah.
How about we reconnect this week? Let's go for dinner, right? Yeah. This is an invitation. And if that partner goes, no, I don't want to, over and over and over, okay, that's your message. Yeah. Then you're not in the right space. Yeah. Then but people are so worried to be vulnerable and to be seen as weak. Vulnerability is the biggest sign of courage. Now, I'm not talking about vulnerability, like you don't have to go out there and tell everybody your trauma. Don't trauma dump. This is not what I'm talking about. Of course, you have to have your people where you can discuss that stuff. But what I'm talking about is like saying things like, I like you. I want to go out with you. Or, you know, this matters to me. Or you matter to me. And if that person doesn't respect that, that is your true sign of where you stand. Because if you're playing games and you're trying to win, like who's going to be the stronger one, you're not going to have a clear indication of what is happening in your relationship. Because you're acting from your defense mechanisms, your partner's acting from a defense mechanism. You cannot thrive. You're in survival mode. You cannot thrive in survival mode. You have to create safety. How can I create safety in my relationship? I'm going to stop stonewalling. I'm going to stop chatting to whoever online. I'm saying hi to random people because I fear that my partner's going to leave me and I need a plan B and C and D. And, you know, so do that and hold yourself up to that high standard. See how they respond. If they respond positively, then you can build on that relationship. If they do not respond positively, then clearly there is something that is not working. And either they have to go to coaching or therapy. If that means a lot, like say you have kids, right? You're of course going to put a lot more effort into the relationship when there are kids involved. But if this is a new relationship or whatever, then maybe this is an opportunity for you to say like, well, we have different values. We don't connect and we don't have compatibility.
Yeah. Jeez. Sure. A lot to think about. Your relationships are not easy, man. But I suppose, listen, it's quite funny because whenever I always say this to my business coach whenever I meet with him. I haven't spoken to him for a while, but whenever I do a good session with him, I walk out exhausted and I'm like, drained. That's how I feel like my life is. But it's good. It's like stretched me, you know what I mean? Like I said when we started, it's not something that I consider myself to be a particularly expert on these relationships. I think it's it's probably one of the most important parts of our lives because we have relationships with other human beings and they can be varied. They don't have to be sexual, they don't have to be intimate. 100%. They can be like business and and I've over the years I've learned a lot about the business side of things and like when I'm in a relationship with a bad business partner, for example, or bad manager in a business who's just not showing up the way they should. So, but it's such a key thing to get right in us as human beings. It's kind of like being able to cook meat so you don't get sick. You need to figure out how to do relationships well. It's going to make your life so much easier. And for me, it's just the easier life is. I'm hedonistic. The easier the life is, the better things will be. So I just want to try and keep that going as much as possible. How can people get a hold of you? Obviously, you're on YouTube.
Yes.
You've got a great YouTube channel with your fiance Matt. How else do you want people to get in touch with you?
So they can go to the Love and Thrive School, which is my YouTube channel. It's just a lot easier than Patrycja Mohocka. Or the Love and Thrive School is my website, and through there they can also book me or email me info@theloveandthriveschool.co.za.
Beautiful. Listen, thank you so much. This is everything that I wanted it to be. When I met you, I was like, yeah, I need to pick this girl's brain because I can see she's got a lot to offer. And this is exactly, it's not a topic that I would have gone down, like I say, in a rush, but you've really made it accessible, and you did exactly what I said. Like I kind of said, like I like to keep things understandable.
Oh, I hope so, because I'm such a geek and I can get really into like the nitty. I love it, but yeah, people on my channel can sometimes like, I really like to get technical. I'm like, this is how you do it.
Yeah. Well, I really encourage, because I watch some of your stuff on the channel, and I do encourage anybody to go check it out, because if this is a topic that's of interest to you, go check out Patrycja.
No, the Love and Thrive School. Just the Love and Thrive School. Let's keep it at that. But you know, like having a toxic relationship is worse for you than smoking a packet of cigarettes a day.
Really?
So yeah, 100. This is a study that's been done.
Wow.
So it's very important that we understand how to have healthy relationships, not just for ourselves, for our kids, and for the future of our planet.
Amazing. But it doesn't mean that if you get out of a toxic relationship, that you can go start smoking a pack of cigarettes.
No,
just checking that that's not the advice. Right?
Quit both.
Alright, awesome. Thank you so much for coming. Really appreciate it, and we'll chat soon.
Thank you so much. Ciao, guys.